life on the earth arose only once. All life is a product of evolutionary change. Dinosaurs never went away. One dinosaur group gave rise to the animals we call birds. The evolution took tens of millions of years. After all these animals went extinct, how we come to know they existed? Studying the rocks for the remains of pre-existing species is one of the ways to know about the pre-existing species. A fossil is any preserved remains, impression or trace of any pre-existing thing of a past geological age. The fossils can be divided into two categories: fossilized body parts and fossilized traces. The most common body fossils are from the hard parts of the body, including bones, claws, and teeth. Soft body parts are also found, but rarely. The trace fossils include the footprints of the pre-existing life. But after looking at all these fossils, there are some questions that come to our mind. How did they form? There are different types of fossils which are formed in different ways.
When animals or plants die, their remains usually decay to nothing. It is only if the conditions are right that they can be preserved as fossils. The best way to create a fossil is to trap and quickly bury a dead organism. The dead remains of animals and plants that fall to the river or sea floors get covered in layers of sediment. Over time, this sediment sinks as it is buried deeper by increasing layers. Meanwhile, minerals permeate through the sediment and gradually recrystallize the non-decomposed remains. This process is called permineralization. In some cases, the whole skeleton eventually dissolves, leaving a space in the sediment which becomes filled with mineral deposits in the exact shape of the original structure. In this way, a cast of the original structure is created. Eventually, the pressure exerted on the lower layers of sediment is sufficient to turn it into rock. Millions of years later, this rock may rise to the Earth's surface, where erosion and earthquakes eventually expose the fossil.
One special case involves trapping organisms, oftentimes insects, in amber. This process begins when an organism is covered in tree sap. The sap, or resin, forms a protective seal around the entrapped organism. Over time, the soft resin hardens and turns into amber, with the organism suspended within. This process creates a biologically inert tomb for the organism, allowing its soft tissues to be remarkably preserved. Insects encased in amber have been so well preserved that their genetic material was extracted and partially sequenced. Other fossilization methods change the specimen as it is being preserved. For instance, carbonization transforms soft tissues into thin black films of carbon.
Mold fossil. When an animal, plant or other organism dies and is covered with sediments, its flesh decays and bones deteriorate due to chemical reactions. Only a cavity remains below the Earth's surface, making a mold fossil. Cast fossil. A fossil formed when an animal, plant or any other organism dies and decays. When its bones deteriorate because of some chemical reactions, then minerals gradually enter into the cavity and form a cast fossil. The different types of fossils of different organisms are very important. They bring the evidence of evolution tell us about the history of life. They tell us that the life on the earth was once different from the life found on the earth today.